Hello everybody, I'm Rajiv Mishra, Economic Advisor, Ministry of Finance, Government of India. I'll be speaking today on a topic which has suddenly become very important and relevant in the Indian conditions. This is export promotion, back to the basics. Why in fact do we need to discuss a bit more on export promotion? In fact, all these things will come to the fore when we are talking about an export promotion strategy. An export promotion strategy would be broadly addressing 2 or 3 aspects. First, why do we need to promote exports? Second, which exports should we promote? And third, where should we promote exports? In fact, this is an issue which we want to go, or I will take you through one by one as we go along. Why do we need to promote exports? There are basically 3 answers to it. We can think of more, but broadly, the most obvious one is to pay for imports. In fact, this was the thinking in the Indian mindset for several years after the independence. We were thinking that we were always a self-reliant country and we have to be self-contained. Our imports should be at the minimum, and whatever imports are there, we should be able to earn enough through exports to pay for it. This kind of a thinking kept on for, I would say, 25-30 years until we entered the 70s. In the 70s, we got to realize that we are heavily dependent on the import of oil, and the prices of oil shot up. When that happened, suddenly we had a huge trade deficit and Balassa payments wasn't a problem. This was not only the case with India, but all other countries in the world which were dependent on oil exports from OPEC. So while we did realize that the only one of the ways in which we can reduce the impact of oil price increase is by reducing our dependence on oil and trying to diversify our sources of energy, we also felt that it is high time we start exporting and exporting in large numbers, not only our traditional exports, but also exports in non-traditional areas also. But at that point in time, the priority was to increase our traditional exports to the extent we are able to fund our oil imports significantly. And those were the years which you will read about when we had smart and young, dynamic foreign service officers posted in various embassies in the world who were tasked with this particular problem of meeting up with importers in the countries and trying to increase revenue for meeting our imports. This kind of a reason is still relevant in today's context, because ultimately what we purchase from abroad, we have to pay by selling abroad. But the larger important reason why we need to promote exports is that exports, as we all know through the literature, is the engine of growth. Take the case of India. India, people say, is a very large country. We have a large domestic market. Do we really need to be so much dependent on exports? Yes, we need to be, as the latest economic survey released in July this year, in 2019, tells you that there is no other alternative but for exports to drive the growth of the economy. Let me try to explain it to you in 1 or 2 sentences how that is possible. First of all, when we grow, we need investment. That means we need to build our capacities. When we build our capacities, we also want to fund those capacities through domestic savings, because we don't want to be dependent on foreign borrowings. But when we increase our domestic savings to fund the domestic investment, we have to reduce our consumption. When we reduce our consumption, who will buy the goods and services that we produce out of our enhanced capacity? Obviously, the buyers have to be outside. And therein lies the rationale for increasing our exports, and that is why it has come to serve as an engine of growth, because until now it was the domestic consumption which was driving the growth in India, but the alternative now left is to allow the exports to drive the growth of India. Third reason of ensuring efficient allocation of resources, it follows from the first two. When you are promoting your exports, increasing your exports, the use of resources in the country in building the capacity and in using the capacity aligns with the most productive use of resources. And once that happens, the resources move away from those areas which are not giving you much remuneration. And that, once that starts to happen, our import duty, which is on the higher side, will fall, and there will be more competition given to the import substituting industries in the country, because of which resources would move towards more productive use, one of them being exports of goods and services from the country. So this we have basically talked about why we need to promote exports. Coming to the next issue, if at all promotion of exports is inevitable, then the question is, which exports should we promote? Here I would like to take you to the most ancient theory in international trade, which so far still holds its ground. It is something like going back to the basics, the whole theme of this presentation, of this lecture. Way back in 1776, Adam Smith in The Wealth of Nations said, a country should export only those products in which it has an absolute advantage. What did he mean by saying that? We can look at this particular example on the left hand side, where there are two products, A and B, and there are two countries, 1 and 2. One resource unit is being utilized for producing A as well as B each. So when one resource unit is utilized in country 1 to produce A, country 1 is able to produce 6 units of A. When country 2 utilizes one resource unit to produce A, it is able to produce just 1 unit of A. Coming back to B, when country 1 utilizes one resource unit to produce B, it is able to do so by producing 4 units of B. And when it does for product B, then it is able to produce 5 units. Now from this table itself, you can very well see that country A is more efficient in producing A, whereas country B is more efficient in producing B, simply because they compare each other production performance and see that in case of B, country 2 is triumphing over country 1. In case of A, country 1 is triumphing over. So this was a very straightforward case. But few decades later, David Ricardo came up with the theory of comparative advantage, in which he said that even if one country, and in this particular table you will see country 1 is more efficient in producing both A and B as compared to country 2, still trade is useful. Country A can still produce one commodity and export it to the other country, whereas country B can also produce the other commodity and export it to A. Let us see how that works out. This is a bit of a detailed chart, and you would need to be a bit alert in following how the argument is unfolding. On the left hand side of the screen, the topmost chart is basically saying that country 1 produces 6 units of A and 4 units of B, each with 1 resource unit, and country 2 does that to produce 1 and 3 units of A and B respectively. Now, suppose somebody comes and tells them that trade is possible to the mutual advantage of both the countries if you do the following. What is that following? We go to the next chart in which that particular arrow is shown, the right hand side to the right handmost corner of the screen. When you look at that chart, you see that country 1 is shifting 1 resource unit from the production of B to the production of A. What happens? Country B loses 4 units of B, but gains by increasing A by 6 units. The same person tells country 2 that you shift 3 resource units from A to B, and the following is the result. When that happens, country 2 loses 3 units of A but gains 9 units of B. Having done that, we go back to the next sub-table down on the right hand side below. Once that happens, trade takes place. Country 1 exports the entire thing to country 2, that is +6, whereas country 2 exports the entire B to country 1, that is 9. Again, the arrow shows the amount of exports that are taking place from 1 and 2 and 2, between 1 and 2 and 2 and 1. Finally, we look at the final result in the last table on the left hand side below. We see that although after shifting this resource unit, as far as product A is concerned, country 1 has not gained anything, but it has gained in terms of B by increasing its consumption by 5 more units. Similarly, for country 2, it has not gained anything as far as B is concerned, but its consumption of A has increased by 3 units. So, because of this trade, and despite the fact that country 2 was less efficient than country 1 with regard to the production of both the products, still trade has ensured that both the countries are gaining from this transaction. So, in the final analysis, as you will see in the sub-table on the left hand side of the screen bottom, that although country 1 has not gained anything as far as product A is concerned after trade, it has gained 5 units in consumption as far as B is concerned, whereas country 2 has not gained anything in B, but they have gained in consumption by 3 units of A. So, this shows that even though country 2 has been more inefficient than country 1 in producing A as well as B, the fact that they have allowed to specialize and produce 1 unit more than the other country has led to trade to the mutual benefit of both the countries. Right. Now, the reason why I have taken you through these basic theories and the basic understanding is because, which I'm sure most of you must be already aware of, is because this is the crux of our export promotion strategy. Unless we hold on to this concept and proceed in a manner that is reflective of these theories, the comparative advantage one, we may not get the best results out of our export promotion efforts. Okay. One thing would be clear from this table to all of you, and that is the product in which country 1 has a relative advantage. Now, this particular concept of relative advantage can be seen from the figures itself. You see, if you look at country 1, top left corner, the starting table, it produces 6 units of A and 4 units of B with 1 resource unit. If it is doing that, its comparative advantage of producing A relative to B is 6 by 4, that is, it is 3 by 2. Whereas, if you look at the same equation, the same fraction in respect of 2, it is 1 by 3. Since 3 by 2 is more than 1 by 3, country 1 has a relative advantage in producing and exporting A. Similarly, look at country 2, which is equally inefficient in producing both the products. If you look at product P in relation to A, as far as country 2 is concerned, its comparative advantage is 3 by 1 or 3, whereas in case of country 1, it is 4 by 6 or 2 by 3. Since 3 by 1 is more than 2 by 3, it follows clearly that country 2 has a relative comparative advantage in production of P. So, in this manner, now this is something which is not a theory that is prescribed on the exporters or the importers. By way of hit and trial and practice, they understand what is country good at producing compared to the other products the same country produces. And therefore, when you actually see the export and import flows of a particular country, you will be surprised to see that this principle of comparative advantage is already implicit in the trade flows of the country. So much implicit that this has been given a different kind of an interpretation, or rather a more practical manifestation, I would say, by two renowned economists, Béla Balassa and Noland in 1965, when they extended the logic of comparative advantage to revealed comparative advantage, which in simple terms means that if a country has a comparative advantage in a particular product, then it would get reflected in its trade flows vis-a-vis the trade flows in the trade partner, that is the other country with which this particular country is trading. In actual practice, we have several countries. We just don't have two countries. Two countries is just a theoretical construct. But when we apply the concept of two countries for the entire world, we can make a distinction between country A, which can be your country, and country B, which is the entire world. So you are trading with the world, and the world is trading with you. And therefore, we again have a two-country construct. So this two-country construct is applied to calculate the revealed comparative advantage of a particular product. As you would see subsequently in my presentation, that large exports do not necessarily imply RCA exports. See, ultimately, we are looking at how much are you exporting in relation to your other products as compared to what the world is exporting of the same product as compared to its other products. These kind of things will become clear as we go along in the example. So now we are trying to work out RCA exports. Which are the RCA exports? That means the exports which we are good at, which we need to export so that it has a maximum impact on the market to whom this country, our country, is exporting. For this, I have worked out a few numerical examples, in which case I have taken 5 countries, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 5 products, A, B, C, D, and E, which are to be exported. I have chosen the countries or constructed the example in such a way that I have a very small country, which is your country 1. I have a very large country, which is your country 5, and the other 3 countries are mid-sized countries. The largeness or the smallness of the country is reflected in the size of the exports. You will see in the last column on the left-hand side table that exports have been totaled. Exports have been totaled for each particular product, A, B, C, D, E. Whereas for each country also, total exports have been totaled to reflect how much A, B, C, D, and E amount to. To find out the RCA, we look at the share of a particular product in a particular country's export basket. Now, look at the right-hand side of the table. The right-hand side table. There you will see that product A, in case of country 1, is 11.8% of its total exports, which means 100, if you just quickly look at the left-hand side table, 100 is 11.8% of 850. So we do the calculations like this for each country and for each product. For country 1, for country 2, 3, 4, and 5, and for A, B, C, D, E, all these products. And finally, we do the same calculation for the world at large. How do we identify the RCA products over here? If you look at country 1, you will see product D and E at 11.8% and 35.3% is more than the share of the same products in the world export basket, which is 3.7% and 23.9%, which means as compared to the world export basket, D and E have a larger share in countries' 1 export baskets. So therefore, country 1 has revealed its comparative advantage as far as product D and E are concerned. Let's look at country 2. Country 2, you will notice that 3 of the cells are shaded. In respect of all these 3 cells, the share in the export basket of country 2 is larger than the corresponding share in the world export basket. Similarly, for 3, 4, and 5, we have shaded the cells in which the country has RCA. Country has revealed its comparative advantage. We have understood how to estimate the RCA exports through the help of some simple examples involving 5 countries and 5 products, and as you would notice that these are quite elementary to do, and therefore there is no rocket science involved over here. Now our next target is to see which are the markets where we should be promoting these exports. We know that we are good in exporting certain product, but which market is good at absorbing those products, demanding those products? So for that, we take or we try to understand the counterintuitive to RCA. The counterintuitive to RCA is nothing but relative import dependence. Now, what is that? RCA, revealed comparative advantaged products are the ones which we want to export more relative to our other products in the basket as compared to what the world does. Relative import dependence is how much of the products we want to import relative to the other products we import, if that amount is more as compared to the world. So actually here also we are trying to look at shares. You would notice as we go along in the explanation of relative import dependence, or RID, is that some products which are RID in a particular market or for a particular country are also their RCA products. I mean, it sounds a bit strange that how can those products which we are good at exporting suddenly are also the ones which we want to import more than others. This could be because of the fact that sometimes in case of many products there is incomplete specialization. So therefore, the product in question, while exporting abroad, meeting domestic consumption of the same product, may also need to import the same product from abroad in order to fully satisfy its consumption needs. So let us try to understand the working out of the RID products. Here also I have taken the same example, worked out some figures, but as far as total figures are concerned, total import figures are concerned, in case of each product, they necessarily are equal to the total export figures which we had seen when we were computing the RCA worksheet. Again, we look at this example. Total imports of A across all countries is 2000. A is importing 250 of it, 2 is importing 350 of it. We look down vertically. We see that total imports of A is 1075, which is simply, if you take the case of A, 23.3% of whatever total amount A is importing. But this 23.3% is less than 24.5% as far as the world import basket is concerned. Therefore, compared to the world at large, country 1 dependence on imports of A is not that much. Therefore, it is not as dependent on importing A as it is dependent on importing C or importing E, because in case of both C and E, the share of these products in the import basket of country 1 is larger than the share of the very products in the import basket of the world. Once we do that, we look at this orange shades. In case of each country, you will notice that we have shaded those products in which the country is showing relative import dependence, or are called RID products for those countries. Right. So having identified the RID products, we now go for the final exercise of matching them. This screen is the most important screen in the sense that on the left hand side, you will see that RCA products I have reproduced which were shown earlier, and RID products also I have reproduced which were shown in the preceding slide. Now we start the exercise of matching. Matching means that country 1, suppose we start with country 1. Country 1 should only promote the exports of its RCA products, otherwise it is not following the principles of comparative advantage. So what are the RCA products of country 1? D and E on the left hand side with 11.8% and 35.3% in its exports basket. Now we go to the right hand side of the screen. The importers for products of country 1 are country 2, 3, 4 and 5. Let's look at country 2. Does it have relative import dependence on D and E? It has only on D. It does not have on E. So therefore, when it comes to promoting exports of D in country 2, in the world at large, then country 1 would promote only D in country 2. It will not promote E in country 2 because although E is an RCA product for country 1, E is not the RID product for country 2. We can work out a few more examples. Let's look at country 3. Country 3 also has just D as the RID product. So even in country 3, country 1 can promote D. In case of country 4, country 1 cannot export or promote exports of either D or E. So as far as that country is concerned, country 1 has to be a bit silent about it. When we look at country 5, then export of E is best matched in country 5 because it also happens to be the RID product of country 5. So in this manner, we can look at this illustration and go through each country and each product and jot down basically that if at all it's a question of country 1, then which products is its RCA products and which are the best markets it can promote its RCA exports, and those best markets are the ones in which country 1's RCA products are the RID products in those particular markets. We have gone through the exercise of identifying the RCA and the RID products, and we have seen just now how the matching has to be done so that the best products are exported in the best markets. That has to be the underlying philosophy. Now, once we do that, or rather when we attempt to start doing it, we need to understand how the products or the product identification is characterized. Because this kind of a classroom setting in which we are just naming products A, B, C, and D will not do good in the real life. So let us try to see how this kind of an exercise can be translated into the world of real data. To understand that, we first need to understand the harmonized commodity encoding system. This system has been evolved by the world customs in which a particular product is described in some detail and a code is attached to it. Once that happens and everybody in the world understands the description of the commodity and the code that goes along with it, then in terms of exchanging information on any product, you use the code, you do not use the description. Once that happens, then it's a matter of matching what one wants to export and what one wants to import from a particular country. I'll just give you a brief example of how to understand that coding system. This entire coding system consists of 21 sections. For example, one of the section is chemical products, which is called section 6. This section has a hierarchical arrangement of products below it, of different coding systems. Now, this chemical products have some of the chapters. Total number of chapters in the harmonized system is 99. Some of these chapters are under the chemical products. These chapters are 28 to 38. Each chapter is denoted by a 2-digit code. So below we start with the sections. There are 21 sections, and then under each section, when we have the chapters are identified by a 2-digit code. In this particular example, which is pharmaceutical products, is one chapter, and this chemical products actually has chapters 28 to 38, and one of them is pharmaceutical products, which is denoted by chapter 30. We will go through these examples in some detail as we go through the Excel sheet concerned with that. But right now, it is useful to grasp the intuitive meaning right away. Now, under pharmaceutical products, we have 4-digit codes. Total number of 4-digit codes in the entire system is 1225. Some of these codes are also present under chapter 30. How many codes are there? There are 6 4-digit codes under chapter 30. One of them, for example, is 3004, which is medicaments consisting of mixed or unmixed products for therapeutic or prophylactic use. That way, there would be several more 4-digit products with a more detailed definition or the description, but right now here I am using a concise description of these products. Finally, under each 4-digit code, there is a 6-digit code. 6-digit code basically is a more detailed description. In case of this particular example which we are using, 3004 has 8 6-digit codes, and one of the 8 6-digit code, 300470, is medicaments consisting of penicillin and derivatives. Total number of 6-digit codes in the entire HS system is about 5,206 to be exact, but then this number keeps on changing because world customs keeps on evolving more and more products with more accurate description and more codes. So we have in the coding system sections. Below sections we have chapters. Chapters are denoted by 2-digit code. Under each chapter we have a 4-digit code. The first 2 digits of the 4-digit code is a chapter code, and the other 2 digits is the meaning of that 4-digit code. Under each 4-digit code we have the 6-digit code, and so on the hierarchy continues. In the entire world which are in the trading system, the understanding of these codes is harmonized up to the 6-digit level. However, in each individual country, there are 8-digit codes, below that, even 10-digit, even 12-digit, but those are for the internal use when they're applying some tariff on some particular product. As far as the world is concerned, the harmonization has been up to the level of 6-digit. Let me give you the entire layout of the 6-digit code. You will see right from chapter 1, and the first 2 digits are given by 01. Right from chapter 1, we are going up to chapter 9, and as we go down and down and down, the list is very long, and we have to keep on going until we reach the row 5226th row or whatever. Descriptions are there, but as I said earlier, these descriptions right now mentioned in this sheet is very limited in description. There is more detailed description to that, and information on this is available on various websites of the WTO or Comtrade Statistics, the UN Comtrade Statistics, and even ITC, and a few more others. Now, having understood this coding system, we next need to know where to access information about trade flows between various countries, so that we can apply our concepts of RCA and RID into identifying those products and isolating those products and markets for export promotion. The trade map is one such website whose address is mentioned over there. I will briefly take you through the workings of the website so that we can understand how it needs to be done. Go to the home page of the trade map. I've taken the screenshot of that. We basically need to put in some figures where I have mentioned live animals. So those prompts would come there are several products mentioned over there. So once any product can be mentioned over there, which will activate your trade indicators tab on the left hand side. Once you calculate, or instead click on the trade indicators tab, you would be moving into the inside of the trade map and get to see the trade flows. We access the trade map website, which is maintained by the International Trade Center, to identify the products, look at the product flows, and identify the RCA and the RID products. This is the home page, and over here I need to activate the trade indicators tab, which is given to the left on the middle of the page. For activating this trade indicators tab, I basically from the drop down menu, I have just clicked randomly at any product, and in this case it is showing live animals. Once I do that, I can activate the trade indicators tab and proceed to the next step. Once I do this, now I'm interested in India as an exporter. I'm interested in United States as the importer, and I'm interested in the products they trade between each other at the 6-digit level. Once I feed in this information, I should be able to create that Excel spreadsheet in which I will get the necessary information to proceed further. So as I said earlier, we're interested in United States of America as the importer and India as the exporter, and the product code at the 6-digit level. So once you enter the trade map through the trade indicators tab, all this information you have to fill in into the screen at the top left corner. You have to indicate all products. Country has to be USA, partner has to be India. We have to write imports over there, trade indicators, product. Right now it is showing 4-digit code. If you become a member of the trade map, you can access the 6-digit code as well. Once you do this, then you are looking at Excel tab over there. This tab, when you click, you can download Excel, the spreadsheet, into your computer. As I explained to you, we have to access the real data sources, the trade map, in order to arrive at a particular way of estimating the RCA and the RID products. For your benefit, I have downloaded the Excel sheet from the trade map after telling you how that has to be entered through. This downloaded sheet is giving you data of various products against each of the denoted code, the described product, and volumes in dollars, $1 million of products exported and imported. These figures have to be used in importing, in calculating the export basket of India and export basket of the United States, import basket of the United States. And then the matching has to be done in order to arrive at the common RCA and RID products which we can put into our basket for export promotion. This is one way in which you can enter the site. Ideally, you should be choosing that combination in which you are looking at India's RCA products independently. On the other hand, then you go to a different page and look at USA's RID products independently, then match that products and try to find out which are the common ones as we saw it in the example previously. I would like to now summarize what we have done so far so that you get a clear understanding of the context. We started off with saying that export promotion is important. Why is it important? It is important because it not only pays for our imports, but it also is an engine of growth as far as any economy is concerned. In respect of India, it is all the more so because now India, which was recently growing based on consumption, private consumption within the economy, now has to shift focus to the world outside, that is to exports, in order to grow further. We know that world output is not growing significantly in recent times. World trade is slow. So if despite that we need to increase our exports, the only way we can do so is by increasing our market share. We cannot increase our market share by promoting all exports in the export baskets. We have to be selective. We have to smartly select exports for promotion. Otherwise, we will not only waste our resources as far as the marketing budget is concerned, but we would also not be able to carve a niche for some of the selective products in our export basket. One way of doing so is to identify the RCA and the RID products. And these calculations I have shown you in the presentation, and I've also shown you how they can be done when real data is there for you to tap. Having said that, let me caution you that this kind of an approach is not the final word on the subject. There are more sophisticated approaches which need to be understood if one has interest in the subject in order to further smartly and clearly identify the RCA products and the RID products in a particular market. But literature on this is evolving. This is a good start, and if I have made you or aroused your curiosity in this particular subject, then my job seems to be completed. Thank you.